I've had a nap, so I'm feeling fine. Probably need another sleep after tea time. My Buddhist years started in October 1998 and ended in 2003, December 2003, when I went home to my parents. So I started in October 1998 going to Buddhist meditation classes in my hometown of Chorley, Lancashire, England. I enjoyed them. It calmed my mind down. Then in 1999 I went to a retreat, a Buddhist Tara retreat in Scotland, which was good. We did 6 sessions and we recited her sadhana 6 times. No, sorry, 7 times. We had 6 sessions and we recited it 7 times. Because it says if you recite these 6 times, 7 times a day, which is a 24-hour period, if you do 24-hour Tara, you have 6 sessions and you recite it 7 times. But we did the 6 sessions within the weekend, so we had time off to reflect. Anyway, what happened when we were up there, the last session we went in, it was fine outside, but when we came out it had snowed. It had, like a miracle had happened. It had snowed and it was very deep. But Tara was with us that day. Then in December 1999 I moved to Ulverston, Cumbria, to be at the Buddhist Centre, the New Kadampa tradition, which was what I was with. The main master is Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche. I'm not with the Dalai Lama sect. I was with the New Kadampa tradition, which is a shock to some people because, you see, they'd hate us. They hate us with a passion because we have Dorji Shuddhan as our Dharma protector, and he was seen as a spirit, a bad spirit, when he's not. He is the emanation of Buddha Manjushri, the wrathful aspect of Buddha Manjushri. The peaceful aspect of Buddha Manjushri is Jason Karpa and his sons, and the wrathful aspect of Buddha Manjushri is Dorji Shuddhan. And so we practiced Dorji Shuddhan, and because of that we got death threats. Geshe Kelsang Gyatso got death threats. He probably still does now today, still has death threats from the Dalai Lama sect. I don't understand why we can't be peaceful with each other, how they can see him as a bad spirit when he is an aspect of Buddha Manjushri. That's what we're taught anyway. Anyway, to move on, in the year 2000, January 2000, I did a Buddha Vajrayogini counting retreat. I counted 100,000 mantras within 3 weeks, which is no mean feat. And then we did 10,000 wisdom descending mantras to finish. Then in 24th of May 2000, I got ordained as a nun. My name was Kelsang Norjin, which means fortunate givers of wealth. It is a Buddha Tara name. She has 21 aspects as Buddha Tara, and the aspect that was givers of wealth was number 11, yellow with a hint of red, which means she was orange in colour, but they call it yellow with a hint of red. I worked very hard there, which I really shouldn't because I was ill. I was ill. Still, wasn't as bad as I had been, but I was still ill, still working very hard, and I went to foundation program to study Buddhism. The Bodhisattva's Way of Life was the one by Shantideva, which was the book that I was studying. Then, like I said, in 2001, I had a burnout, and it was bad. I had the symptoms of myalgic encephalomyelitis. So you see, I worked my arse off there, burnt myself out. I was there for the next 2 years, not very good at doing anything. So I went back home in 2002. At the end of 2002 I went back home and decided to stay at home. In 2003 I didn't disrobe until at least 2004. Buddhism wasn't for me. I didn't have any spiritual path then. I was on and off a Buddhist. I have to tell you about 2001 when we saw the Twin Towers go down. I was in the ritual room with the radio on, listening to it. And afterwards, I went downstairs into my room and I prayed to Buddha Tara. Buddha Tara is the mother of all Buddhas. She is the mother. And so, because of the Twin Towers, in November 2001, we went to New York City for 4 days. Me and my sister. We were both nuns at the time, before the Buddhist conference that was happening in the Catskill Mountains. We toured New York City. We even went to Ground Zero and we saw the dust, which was horrific. We never got any problems. We never had any problems walking in New York City. There was hardly anybody there. Anyway, after that, when we came back home, they decided to do empowerments around the world, and we went to Menorca, and they had opening of their temple in Menorca. It's only a small temple, but they had their temple opened up, and we did the Buddha Amitayus retreat. Empowerment. And then in the UK, in England. We toured. We did Blackpool, we did Liverpool, we did London, and we did Brighton, all empowerments, just to get the energy up. In Liverpool we did Buddha Tara mantras. Oh, what am I saying? Buddha Tara empowerment. And after that, after we had the empowerment, we had an oral transition of how Buddha Tara became Buddha Tara. There are two ways she became born. The first was by Avalokiteshvara. Buddha Avalokiteshvara was crying one day for the suffering of all. He could feel the suffering of all because he's the Buddha of compassion. And he was crying, and from the tears became a blue opala flower growing, and it opened up and sat on the blue opala flower's Buddha Tara, and that's how she became born. And she promised to rescue all that needed rescuing. Also, in the oral transition, we had a story about her as when she was on earth. She was a princess of India in ancient times, and she was praying in the temple, and a monk came up to her and said, "You better pray to be a man when you're in your next life, so then you can be enlightened." And you see, the guru of the time heard that and came over to them and said, "No, you can be male or female, it doesn't matter." And she promised to herself and said that I will be female until I gain enlightenment. And that's how we have a Buddha Tara. That's how we have a female form of a Buddha, because she promised to herself that in all her lives she will be female. And of course she became a female Buddha. I enjoyed my time going to the different empowerments. It was correct things that we did to gain energy back. I liked my time as a Buddhist nun, but I knew it wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. Even though it felt like home. Like I said before, I never felt the same as other people. I've always felt different. And somehow it felt like homecoming. A homecoming. When I first went to the Priory up in Ulverston, Cumbria, it felt home. Felt like coming home. Found something that was akin to what I was feeling. But times change, people change, and it wasn't for me. Anyway, that was my Buddhist years.